Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Scott Week. We are so excited to have on here today Jason Barrett, who is the Chief Operating Officer of the Royal Edinburgh Military Tattoo. Jason, welcome, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, it's great to be here, Cindy. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Now, I just want to tell the audience a little bit about yourself and your role in the tattoo. So Jason joined the tattoo team in December 2020. If you can imagine, the height of COVID, moved from Colorado in the United States to take on this role. Jason joined the tattoo with over 10 years experience in the hospitality industry. He's held various chief executive and management roles within the United States. Prior to this, Jason had a distinguished career in the United States Marine Corps, having served 20 years as an infantry officer, where he held leadership positions, teaching leadership, as well as being involved in high-level strategic planning. Jason retired from the Marine Corps as Lieutenant Colonel in 2010, having led over 1,000 Marines with over 150 million in assets. Notably, during his time with the U.S. military, Jason served in both Iraq and Afghanistan and has written procedures for managing post-traumatic stress disorder for the Marine Corps. Jason, thank you so much for all of your service.
Well, thank you. No, it was, again, a big part of my life, an important part of my life, and really proud of it. Thank you.
Well, and we're so very grateful to you and all the service members for our freedom that we enjoy and for all of your service. And so we just wanted to first and foremost thank you for that. And I'm so fascinated that coming from the U.S. Marine Corps, you are now in this position with the Edinburgh Military Tattoo. And so I just want to ask you, having had this very distinguished career, how did you get involved with the Royal Military Edinburgh Tattoo?
Yeah, I get that question a fair bit. It's actually sort of two stories that intersect. Firstly, it's the military side, which of course, being the Royal Edinburgh Military Tattoo, there's a strong military connection, affiliation to everything that we do. We are a military charity raising funds for British service charities, and we always have for the last 72 years. So it's and then most of the cast is made up of largely British military, but also visiting foreign services. So you see that piece. So coming with a military career, my first career, I think is first and foremost people looking at the tattoo for someone in a leadership position to have that connection, to have that experience, to have that exposure, and I brought that. I think what was a little bit unique about my career, which isn't mentioned in the bio, is that I served with the Royal Marines on exchange. So I have an affiliation and a familiarity with the British forces from my time, 3 years from 2005 to 2008 with the British military. And I did actually my time in Iraq and Afghanistan with British forces, not with American forces. So again, a unique opportunity, an interesting part of my career. But I think to the folks of the tattoo, they saw that as a unique component with that. Secondarily to your question, how did I get here? I'm married to a Scot. My wife is from just outside of Edinburgh, Linlithgow. I've been visiting Scotland for the last 25 years since we've been married. My wife, we met when she worked at the British Embassy in DC, whilst I was in the Marine Corps. So there's a really interesting, unique connection that I have and affection I have for this country, along with the military side. And then lastly, my hospitality experience, I think, brought what they wanted, which was a commercial focus. And I think lastly, as an American, I think there's an entrepreneurial ethic as an American business person that I think was appealing to them as well.
That's fascinating. And so you actually started your role and moved in December 2020 from Colorado. And it was the height of the pandemic. We never knew when this thing was going to end or where it was going. What was that like for you? And how did you make that decision? And how did that work?
It was big. I mean, people will ask me that as well. Like, what did you do? Well, we pretty much sold everything and moved. But it wasn't that straightforward. To your point, Cindy, the height of COVID, I began work in December 1st for the tattoo and conducted about a month-long turnover. And during that time, I was still in Colorado. So meetings would start 2 a.m. Colorado time. And so I certainly had to pull on some of that old infantry military experience of getting up in the middle of the night to be able to perform my duties, but did so. And then was to move, sold my home, and then was to move over there by February 1st. Well, that's when it was sort of the highest point, the zenith of lockdown. And they said, why don't we give it a month to see how it goes? And it was then that I was, found myself homeless, so nowhere to go. And so I said, well, I want a couple more hours of sleep at the minimum. So why don't we move to the East Coast? And since it was February, I said, why don't we move to Florida? And so I rented a home in Florida for the month of February, and was able to start my meetings at 4 a.m. instead. But then moved over and got settled in over here the 1st of March, and have been on the ground since then.
Wow. So what a transition for you, and very well done. I mean, that's not just anybody would have pulled that off. So very well done. So now that you're there and you're looking forward to 2022 to the tattoo, which I already have tickets for. I'm so excited. I know. I usually come every year to Scotland for the month of August, and I personally love to end my trip in Scotland at the tattoo before I fly out the next morning. It's kind of my farewell to Scotland. It's very bittersweet, but it's such a beautiful presentation for all of you who have never been either to Scotland or seen or heard of the Royal Edinburgh Military Tattoo. It is a must see. It is a beautiful presentation. You're always left just sort of very emotionally in tears and just so proud to be there in that moment. It is a beautiful presentation and work of art of performers, not just military, British military, but from around the world. And can you tell us a little bit about this year's, because the tattoo does change every year. Can you tell us a little bit about the presentation this year and share with us your thoughts on that, and just talk a little bit about the
Yeah, happy to. And really great the way you portrayed it, Cindy, because that's exactly the same sentiment that I think everybody has when they see it. It is an atmospheric spectacular. It is emotive. It is immersive in the sense that you're surrounded and you feel the energy of the show as you sit there and watch it. So all those things ring true. And it's hard to explain to people until they see it, until they experience it. But yeah, after, it's our 72nd year, after 2 years of cancellation, a lot has happened, and certainly to the event industry. So arguably this is, it's never been more exciting for the tattoo at this point, to be able to restart, reset really the show. And so we have a bunch of new leaders, a bunch of new people. We have a new creative director who has come in and has a variety of experience in all sorts of show business and the entertainment industry, which we're excited about. And so we're really excited to restart the show. And we have certainly the massed pipes and drums, the core of what we do. From the British military, we have our own in-house performer group that comes out and reflect the Scottish traditional arts: piping, drumming, fiddle playing, and Scottish dancing. And again, that group is magnificent at what they do, and they're excited to get back at it. And then, of course, we have global acts being represented, and a number of acts coming from America, which is near and dear to my heart. We have a band, the U.S. Army Field Band, coming from Washington, D.C., and those who understand tattoos and what they do, the American military acts that come out of the National Capital Region are some of the best in the world. And we don't get them very often because of the summer parade season. So to get one of them this year makes it extra special. Similarly, we have a crowd favorite with the Top Secret Drum Corps coming out of Switzerland, which is a fan favorite. And so we're really excited to have them back from Basel, Switzerland. We have the New Zealand Army Band coming, which again is a crowd pleaser. So I'm really excited about all the different acts coming. And we have an entertainment group coming from Mexico, which will bring all sorts of color and energy and festiveness to what we do. So it's going to be an amazing show. And again, with our creative director, Michael Braithwaite, who is creating, I think, what I would say is a more of a artistic and narrative arc to the show. In some ways, tying it all together. The show this year is called Voices. And then there'll be shows that will follow, again, an extension of this theme in following years. And so instead of just doing one show and that's it, you'll see a thread between shows year after year. And so a artistic and narrative arc will be integrated. So again, a lot's going on. Really excited to get back at it. Certainly, I've been to the tattoo before, but now certainly to be behind the scenes and to certainly help pull some of those strings is really exciting personally.
That's very exciting. And have you ever actually performed in any way, shape, or form, or marched out into that arena by chance? Just asking.
I haven't, although I haven't, but we've done a couple of small things this year where we actually produced the Edinburgh University graduation at the castle this year, which was special. And so I was able to put on for the first time my tartan trews and sort of the tattoo uniform. But no, I haven't performed on the Esplanade. But I mean, it just looks amazing. And Cindy, I understand you're a bagpiper as well. Is that right?
Yes, and actually, I marched into the Esplanade 2009 during the homecoming.
Wow.
And I've been fortunate enough, I don't know if I should say this out loud, been fortunate enough to be able to play at times with the Black Watch. And I don't know, as a civilian, and they don't normally allow that sort of thing, I don't think. And it's been amazing. I mean, I just get goosebumps thinking about it. But
that's super.
But there's nothing like being on that Esplanade and being there for the show. It truly is such an experience. You cannot describe it. And even though I have little bits of film that I've taken every single year, it still doesn't do justice to actually being there in person. And what a better time of the year to go. And you're there in Edinburgh also for the Fringe Festival. It's just such a spectacular event that contributes enormously to the Fringe Festival. And everyone must plan to go and research, you know, exactly what they want to do and what they want to see. But the tattoo is an absolute must, in my opinion. But can you tell us, are there tickets still available for this year?
Yeah, no, great question. Absolutely. Tickets went on sale December 1st. They're still on sale and selling fast, selling well, happy to say, but there is availability. And, you know, one of the things we're seeing is we're getting a great response, certainly from local UK spectators and those who want to come, which is wonderful. And I think there is has been, at least our assessment, a little bit of a wait and see by international audiences or tattoo goers. And now we're starting to see that loosen up a little bit. I think people are seeing as we make the move and the worm turns on the pandemic, and we're seeing more positive activity and people are getting out more. I think we're going to see that international audience pick up. So certainly, I would, on this forum, I would certainly express the sentiment for folks who are interested or wondering about the tattoo. There's really no better year to come because it is going to be new. It's going to be fresh. It's going to be interesting, and yet it's going to have all those core aspects that all tattoos have. But it's a special year, so I would encourage anybody who wants to come from America or beyond to give it a go this year.
And I do want to point out to anyone who's thinking of going to Scotland this year or has already booked your trip, there are a lot of people I always see when I go to the Edinburgh tattoo where you pick up the tickets, and there's a little store there that you can go to in Edinburgh near to the castle. People walk in thinking that they can buy tickets to the tattoo, and that is truly not the case. I hear people every time I go into the little store, the little shop, being very disappointed that the tattoo is in fact sold out. So you need to go online now
Yeah.
and book your tickets, because it does sell out.
Yeah.
And that's important, right?
Well, it is. And two things about that. Thank you, Cindy, is absolutely go online, go to our website, and you can buy tickets on that. And we have a brand new, it's a good reminder, Cindy, we have a brand new ticketing system this year, SecuTix, which is state of the art. It is absolutely, you can pick your seat and see a three-dimensional perspective of where you'll sit with the sight line. And so, and you get to sort of see where you are on the esplanade. You can see where you are in respect to the castle. So very interactive, and we're very proud of that. So absolutely, if people are interested, please get online and come to Scotland and see the show. It's going to be a wonderful, wonderful show.
I can't wait. And then also, I want to let our viewers know that I will be there August 19th, and some of your team have been so gracious to extend the offer for us to come sort of behind the scenes and shoot some footage so that we can come back and show a little bit of behind the scenes what you guys do, because it's such a massive production, and I'm always in awe of how well it goes each and every night. So it goes on for almost the entire month of August, correct?
Yeah, 5 through 27 August. So just 25 shows in just over 3 weeks. Yeah, it's wonderful. And there's 2 shows, matinees on Saturday and a later show on Saturday as well. So yeah, it is part of the festival, as you said, Cindy, or certainly runs in conjunction with all the different festivals that go on in Edinburgh. So it's a sight to see this wonderful city bursting at the seams with all the different activities and all the different festivities going on. It's really, really special.
It is. And, we were talking with the French Society who helped put on the French Festival, and they were talking about how they had so many performers lined up, like 3 times as many as normal. People just want to get out, experience it again, come and participate. And so we will put in the link below here, links to your site, how to get tickets, give some more information about that. And then if it's okay with you, I'm kind of putting you on the spot. I will put some little snippets of my footage from previous years of the tattoo. And again, it won't do it justice at all, right? It just won't. You have to be there in person. But in case you can't, you can also go online, I believe, and buy past performances of the tattoo.
Yes, that's right. Certainly from past years, there are DVDs to purchase. And so also you can look at previous shows if you have one in mind, or just wanted to see one before you make the decision or choose to come over. So that's also available. And also, Cindy, I think we just came up with a new sizzle reel. And I'll send you that if Lindsay hasn't already, but I can send you that. And then if you wanted to post that as well. So.
Absolutely. And I'll make sure that it follows our interview here so that people can see that. I would love to have that, and we'll go ahead and put that out on all of our channels. How very fun. I am so excited to come this year. I hope that everybody has the opportunity to go to Scotland. And we were talking about, if you've never been before, certainly send me an email. I mean, people do all the time, and I can tell you my most favorite things. And at the top of the list is going to be the Royal Edinburgh Military Tattoo as an absolute must see. But we will go ahead and we'll put all of the links down below. How can people follow you and your team and what you're doing? Do you have little snippets like this reel that you release every so often so people can kind of have the teasers or keep up with what you're doing?
Yeah, I think our website is the best place, and then certainly look for us on social media as well, Cindy. And our team is wonderful at posting all sorts of, whether it be snippets from previous shows or photos, or any sort of links, historical or otherwise. So that's the best way, is on our website or certainly on our Facebook or Instagram sites. And so very active on those, but they'll get a really good sense of what we do if they're unfamiliar with the tattoo.
Unbelievable. I'm so excited. So what are your key objectives moving forward? Do you have some projects in mind that you want to do to kind of sort of put your own stamp of how you like to do things, anything you would like to see moving forward with the tattoo?
Well, yeah, and not necessarily attributable to me, but certainly, some of my background is in strategic planning and developing long-range plans, and so we've embarked on that here at the Tattoo and developed a 10-year strategy with sort of three-year epochs, and if you add sort of 22 as the launching of that. This year, sort of setting conditions for these three-year epochs to get us to 10 years. That's what we've embarked on. And it's with that we, simply put, we want to grow. We want to take the tattoo beyond just the 3 weeks in Edinburgh. And so we're developing thinking around that. We are interested in exploring the possibility of where we take the tattoo on tour. We're looking very closely at how we would develop a touring model to come to North America, to come to the States. And as a matter of fact, just returned from a trip of exploration and discovery, fact finding, seeking expressions of interest and support on if we were to do that. We were in New York for a week and then DC the following week, and met with wonderful people throughout the circles that you run in, Cindy, many of them on Scottish Business Network, many of them certainly who are in military performing circles, and the very new and burgeoning Washington Tattoo was our host in Washington, Mark Riley, who's amazing. And so it's with that we had just this incredible reception by so many that was very encouraging for us to take the tattoo abroad. And so we're now beginning to develop thinking how we do that, and what are next steps, and when do we do it, and how big can it be, and where do we go? And so that's exciting to think about. So certainly us doing more than just Edinburgh in August is how also do we do something another 3 weeks perhaps in the spring, and doing multiple cities on the Eastern Seaboard initially, and then growing from there. The key for us is what we want to develop is a repeatable, programmable, recurring tattoo versus just dropping in once and then disappearing. The tattoo has toured in the past and has been successful at it. As recent as 2019 in Australia, 2016 they were in New Zealand and Australia, and mostly to Anglophone countries. Commonwealth countries, naturally. But for us, we want to see how we can do this again in a more programmable, repeatable format. And so we partner with sponsors, we partner with promoters, and have a very successful commercial endeavor in doing so. And again, to remind folks who may not know this, we are a charity at heart. So the more we can grow, the more money we can make, the more we can give away. And that really is at the heart of our business model. So it's with that is how do we take what we do in Edinburgh, do it someplace else, and do it just as successfully.
Well, and I was going to ask that next, when you would be coming over to the United States. And I work very closely with Mark Riley. He's become a dear friend. And that is something that, we wanted to do as Scott Week, is have a mini tattoo at the Greystone Mansion. Well, the Greystone Mansion, unfortunately, this year is still not open. But that is something that we will do. And we would love to help you in any way that we can and help facilitate anything that you might be able to or need, or be able to make connections on the West Coast.
Super.
Greg, and we will fill the stadium. I promise you that.
Oh, that's great. No, we would love to come to. I just came, as a matter of fact, on this trip. I took a little bit of leave, did some golfing in Southern California, and the weather was spectacular, which it usually is. But I mean, it was really, really good this time. So I was. It would be fun for us to go out there for sure.
It'll be amazing. And I am so appreciative of you taking the time to be with us here today. With your permission, I'd love to check back in with you from time to time.
I would love that. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be phenomenal. And so you can let us know how it's going with the tattoo, and we can keep everyone here in the States on our channels informed as to what you're doing and when the tattoo might actually come over to the United States. But for now, everyone, go online, buy your tickets. Don't be afraid to travel. I think one of the biggest concerns for people still is how are we going to get over to Scotland? What are going to be the travel requirements and restrictions? And so what I'd like to do is also post a link down below where maybe you can keep informed as to what those requirements may or may not be. Please don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to travel. I've gone to Canada probably 3 times now during COVID. And it's been okay. It's been fine, and it's getting better. And the restrictions are lifting almost on a daily basis
They
now.
are. Yeah, absolutely. I just flew. It's Tuesday when we're filming this. I just flew Sunday, and there were no restrictions. As a matter of fact, there were coming to the States. I had to get tested and do some things, but actually returning to the UK, there were no tests, and the mask mandates have just been lifted here in Scotland. They have been lifted in England for a number of weeks now. So things are getting back to normal here. Just now, it's just past Easter. It's spring break for some schools over here, and the streets of Edinburgh are bustling. So yeah, I think it's people are interested in coming. It looks as though we've gotten to the other side of this. Touch wood, and please come. You'll have an amazing time.
Yes, and they just lifted the mask mandate here in the United States on airplanes. So
Super.
this is phenomenal news as well. So everyone, get online, start planning your trip, get your tickets to the tattoo. Jason Barrett, thank you so much for being here with us today. I'm so excited to have you on, and the future is going to be magnificent.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Cindy. It was really fun speaking with you. Finally, good to meet you, even though it's virtual. Can't wait to meet you in person. So yeah, really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Absolutely.